You know, personally, I don't believe in online censorship, except for when it comes to this specific type of meme. Censor it all! As right now, it looks like there's a very interesting debate happening around TikTok right now that is being accused of censoring some very interesting words, especially in private messages now, as Mike Benz has come out and really connected the dots on the censorship industrial complex, which he says the Republicans are financing and supporting more than ever. Lots of really crazy things happening with European governments fining American companies, as now this new American company is having a lot of people absolutely criticize it. What's going on in this online digital space? As a lot of people are saying, data is the new oil, and that new oil is being controlled by some robber barons and some individuals that are definitely using it for their own self-inflicted type of value that we kind of have to have a conversation about regarding the actual impact of it on society. If you agree and want to ban all of these JD Vance memes, subscribe. Click the notification to this brand new channel. We're doing very well, surprisingly, as of course our old channel is being heavily censored. We were, by the way, the first YouTube channel ever on YouTube to be demonetized. Ever. Never ever happened before. Happened to us first before anybody else. I've been around for 21 years. I've been around for too long. And it's pretty clear here that we're living in an ever so very weird, crazy, convoluted online digital space that, yes, is a lot better than it was under the Biden administration, but there still are some major problems happening right now and threats against one of the core essential values of human life. And that, of course, is free speech, which should be paramount and the most important right for all citizens to have here, except for people living in Europe. As if you remember, JD Vance traveled to Europe. He addressed all the European leaders and said, hey, guys, stop censoring people. Stop arresting people that are on the right. You guys are becoming less and less aligned with our core values. And then Europe decided to respond by arresting more people. They're also fining American companies like Twitter 120 million euros for not censoring American citizens. Yep. It's absolutely crazy to see what's happening. As of course, a lot of people accuse TikTok of doing the same right now, as people are saying they told you they had to buy TikTok because China will use it to control you. Then, quote, as soon as they get it, they showed you what censorship really was. The U.S. is everything they claim to, quote, oppose. Is that really what's going on here? As now we are getting reports that TikTok users are allegedly deleting the app, with removals up 150% following a U.S. joint venture, which, of course, predominantly is in the hands of individuals like Larry Ellison here. Now, lots of other really important things at play here, specifically when it comes to artificial intelligence, as we have a lot of people on the very extreme hard right, like Dan Brazilian, coming out and saying, delete TikTok. It was gay before. It's even, quote, worse now. Data and information is key, especially when it comes to power, when it comes to influence. TikTok used to censor the crap out of me. It censored the crap out of Tim Pool. It censored the crap out of right-wing political ideology. And then it kind of like accepted it. But now we're living under a new one where I don't know how the app's going to work. I'm kind of curious myself with potentially maybe even, I don't know, opening it, but seeing that they're banning Epstein stuff, that's not going to make me want to go back on that platform. I remember I was releasing a video a day on the platform. I released 7 videos in 1 week. All of the accumulated views were 4 views. And after getting 4 views, after releasing 7 originally highly edited, nice videos by doing the proper tagging, doing the proper information, the whole tags and meta stuff. I did all that. I did it all properly. I did it like you were supposed to. And TikTok banned my account. 4 views, 7 originally highly edited videos, banned. What the hell's going on here? Now it's under new leadership. How will this new leadership treat it? We're going to find out here. Listen, we saw Bibi Netanyahu with stickers all over his camera phones, We saw banned Chinese mobile phones linked to spying, right? We see essentially data and new information not just become the new oil, but the new kind of blackmail operations. A lot of people argue you don't need an Epstein anymore. You got people's cell phones watching, tracking, database, and you got people's microwaves. You got people's blenders with Wi-Fi signals that are able to collect data from your Wi-Fi router. Now, Europe is the most draconian of this, and we should really be moving away from the European type of implementation of destruction of free speech, because that is really Orwellian. The number of arrests that happen in the UK, in Germany, are in the thousands, and they're going after other companies that allow speech. In Europe, by the way, the EU makes more money through fining tech companies than it does by taxing European tech companies. You heard that correctly. The EU makes more money from fines on US tech companies than any other legitimate tax on European tech companies. This is the European Commission waging war on speech as they want to control the narratives. Now, we have the issue over TikTok here, as there's lawsuits against them, specifically when it comes to addiction, as overall, when we look at the overall effect of social media and the gamification of it and how it's being utilized here, I would argue it's a net negative. Now, again, there's a nuanced argument to make here. Before talking about that and going into more of the kind of very important nuanced analysis here from Mike Benz, Glenn Greenwald, and Candace, that is naming some names here. Before getting into that and a lot more, we just quickly wanted to tell you, sign up to lookunfiltered.com. What are you doing not signing up? I'm talking to my members. I'm going to be going to the Discord channel. It's a members-only Discord channel. To become a member, sign up to lookunfiltered.com. 20 cents a day, $8 a month, one Starbucks yuppie drink. That's all it takes. If enough people sign up, we could do some really cool, amazing, incredible things. 3 master classes. We're talking about doing some new master classes. We have discounts on our shirts. We have new shirts that are only available for members, and it's awesome to be a part of this community where all of us get to talk, hang out, and be a part of this community. We have we have an incredible community, lookunfiltered.com. Sign up right now. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and you get the information from other like-minded individuals that are in the same situation, are in the same train of thinking. That is extremely rare. Lots of really awesome people from all walks of life that have joined LukeUnfiltered.com, and it's always great having them because we started this to have our own safe space, right? There was topics and issues during the COOF year that I couldn't talk about publicly that I talked about to members of LukeUnfiltered.com, giving off key, important, critical information that, when acted upon, has helped out a lot of people, not just with their own health, with their own personal finances, but also, most importantly, a lot of people who were getting discriminated against for not taking a procedure. We gave them proper information, and we told you, hey, there's probably going to be a lot of lawsuits here. And we did it in a safe way. We weren't saying, hey, this is actual financial advice. We were doing it in a safe, legitimate way, being like, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I would do if I was in your position. I'm not telling you to do this. We did it in a smart way. But we got the message out there, and we helped out a lot of people. A lot of people come back to me. Thank you so much for the information you gave me about diversifying. I followed what you did with diversifying. I followed what you did with health. And wow, I got, a big significant difference. That's what it matters. LukeUnfiltered.com. Let's get back to this topic of conversation. AP is reporting TikTok is just recently settling a social media, a landmark trial over youth addiction claims. The EU deletes over 8 million posts on social media, quote, every month, allegedly. Thousands of people getting arrested, thousands of people getting cops showing up at their doors in Germany, in the United Kingdom. People are being fined. People are getting their computers stolen. People are getting their cell phones stolen from government bureaucrats that are bragging about it, that are happy about it. As, of course, Elon Musk has been speaking out against a lot of this censorship, fighting back against this. But now we have individuals like Candace Owens blaming X for shifting and manipulating the algorithm and leading into more censorship. As, of course, Google also just settled a $68 million lawsuit where allegedly its assistant was secretly recording your conversations without saying, hey, Google, and feeding them straight into targeted ads. That right there is also dystopian. Google whistleblower Zach Horhies came out and says they're causing AI schizophrenia, and he's warning about the kind of censorship regime that kind of let off a little bit here. But Mike Benz is kind of connecting the dots here, talking about what's happening right now and how we are still supporting the number one organization at the censorship industrial complex and how we need to stop doing that immediately. His assessment on TikTok was also very interesting. This is what he had to say about TikTok right now.
I did about an hour this week on stream on the TikTok affair, and I don't have time to clip it, but I do want to say something because there's been some updates in the past 2 days. So first, I kind of have been laughing that this is the first genuine censorship scandal in the past 7 years that I can't blame on the National Endowment for Democracy. This is coming from a largely Trump-aligned American management team the very week that the management transferred from the Chinese to the Americans. There's a board seat for Oracle and Larry Ellison. There's Jeffrey Yass. The criticism that I see from people I know, just their takes that they gave on TikTok this week, things that criticize the Justice Department or the admin, or talk about Jeffrey Epstein at all. They're just nuked.
That's not good. As of course, the U.S. government helped facilitate this, and if the U.S. government is making sure that criticism of the U.S. government is not available on TikTok, that's worrisome. MTG came out saying, I was one of the few Republicans that voted no against the TikTok ban. And now that it's been sold, apparently people are getting censored for posting about Epstein and other things. People loved TikTok, but they are leaving in droves because banning people's speech is worse than spying on them. Yeah, and the spying still continues. Mike Benz, the TikTok censorship this week is genuinely insane. It's a very bad look to have more censorship under American management than under Chinese management. That does say a lot, right? We're censoring and banning more than Chinese did. Now, Chinese had their own algorithms. Chinese TikTok used to show engineering, mathematics, science. American TikTok used to show low-down, dirty, big-booty Latina hoes shaking their junk. Okay? And there's a reason Chinese kids want to be astronauts. They want to be scientists. They want to be explorers. American kids want to be nicer than that. American kids want to be influencers, live streamers that just do basic things. I don't get it. You do get it when you look at the psychological warfare that's being waged on by the intelligentsia, which I would say is in control of the social media companies, that has been driving us towards the utter destruction of Western civilization. He goes on. It almost goes without saying that if it doesn't reverse course immediately, it deserves the scandal and exodus it's getting. And there is a lot of exodus here. And I don't know what the Republicans are doing, still supporting the censorship industrial complex, but it's pretty clear here there's a lot of it, and it's still at play here. Glenn Greenwald came out, and this is what he had to say.
And if you don't think this is embedded in TikTok, I want to show you the current CEO of TikTok. His name is Adam Presser, and he spoke with the World Jewish Congress last year, of course he did, about the efforts of social media to regain control of the discourse surrounding Israel, and he boasted of the steps TikTok was taking to censor Israel critics. And if you think that's an exaggeration, I want you to listen in your own words.
Now, I think there should always be a distinction between people who hate an entire group of people and actual people that criticize geopolitics, government moves, and maneuvers, because we're slowly shifting in a way where you can't talk about foreign policy anymore. You can't talk about government actions anymore. You can't be critical of them. And if you are, you get cut, you get censored, you get your life destroyed here. Like being put in the digital gulag, being removed from being able to speak in the general kind of consensus is absolutely tremendously detrimental to people's life, to their ability to make money, to their ability to survive, to their ability to bank. As already, we saw prominent right-wing conservatives be banned from banking under the previous censorship regime because they dared to criticize Biden. They dared to criticize Obama. That's not what we should be doing, since, of course, we need to take a more proactive approach. If I was in political leadership right now, I would be like, okay, we got to build an internet bill of rights. One, you have privacy, right? You want to give up your data and you want other people to make money off of it. You want to sell it. That's your own choice, but you have to make that individual choice yourself, right? Now we're kind of living in this Wild West where we have AI slop taking over marketing agency campaigns, algorithms that are heavily manipulated that are meant to, of course, not just control discourse, but to implement a form of mind control that I have been saying has been absolutely running rampant and creating this larger kind of divide and conquer division within our society that has us fighting each other more than we ever have before, leading us to a potential civil war, which I think should be avoided. But I think the major one ingredient that's causing it is the social media and the algorithms and our ability to be able to communicate with each other, which has been stifled significantly.
To Adam Presser, who's now the CEO of TikTok, even above Erica Mindell, the IDF soldier that the ADL installed there. And listen to what he boasts about. Listen to how he understands free speech on TikTok.
Change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty...
Degrading. It's like, you hurt my feelings and emotions, bro. You got to be stopped. No, you should be in control of your feelings and emotions, and you should welcome and accept criticism in order to be able to, of course, have conversations. Because the second you start to destroy those conversations, you start to live up to the kind of meme that a lot of people see you as.
Name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24.
Now, what is hateful, right? Because again, I hate all these terms. Now, if anything is like absolutely calling for violence or actually legitimately hurting people or libeling or legitimately hurting them, there's rules and laws on the books in America that protect you from being libeled, that protect you from being harassed and intimidated and threatened, right? There's laws on the books. Why can't we follow those laws? Now we have to think of an arbitrary made up, oh, it's hate. Is it hateful to criticize the government's policies? It's hate, yeah, you're hateful. What? And again, that could be attributed to anybody. And in America, we're living in a situation where people are literally being deported that are doing the proper paperwork and are legally following the process, that are being deported because they expressed an opinion on a foreign policy in the Middle East. And they wrote an op-ed in college and deported. Why are we spending ICE agents' times and Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol on that? It's a huge waste of time, in my opinion. We should be going after the criminals.
Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
Right. The censorship for Israel is going to go on forever. Credit, by the way, to Chris Menahan, who...
And again, this is how you build up a lot of critics against you, by not even having a conversation. If you want to dispel the critics, you actually have a conversation with them. There's no conversation, it's just censorship. Candace Owens came out, and this is what she just had to say. The person in charge of censorship for Israel over at X is their new head of product, Nikita Bear. He's apparently unhinged and rants about the 1930s and sees it as his mission to censor people who criticized Israel. He's allegedly the reason for this bizarre Zionist artificial trends. Goodbye TikTok and X. They are now a part of the dead internet, quote, psyop. Israel is so evil that it is requiring mass censorship because any rational human being that learns the truth about its history will stand opposed to it. They are now trying to force state censorship laws and enforce an internet police state to cover the lust for, quote, murder. Now, she again has her own kind of opinionated here. Definitely more of an editorial extrapolation here, to say the least here. And listen, I did see a big change here on Twitter ever since Bibi Netanyahu came out and says, we're going to have a talk with Elon. And Bibi Netanyahu was like, yeah, we got to have an influence campaign in America. Like, imagine if China and Russia came out and said that. I don't want any foreign country doing that, right? I don't care if it's the UK. I don't care if it's France, right? We shouldn't be influenced. We shouldn't be bought off. We shouldn't be silenced. We shouldn't be stifled. Free speech should be paramount. And it's not, and it's disappointing. And it's one of the other kind of failures of this administration that I think they need to take seriously, because as soon as they lose power, the left-wing intelligentsia, deep state apparatus is going to absolutely eviscerate any form of speech out there. And that, to me, is one of the most dangerous threats against free humanity. If you agree, share this video. Again, first video on YouTube to ever be censored. We're still here on a brand new channel. The last channel's down the toilet. This one's doing better. Support us. Listen, this is our speakeasy, all right? LukeUnfiltered.com. This is where we get to have the actual real conversations that a lot of people are afraid to have. LukeUnfiltered.com. Sign up right now. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/LukeRudowski76.